Jaya Radha Madhavam Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhavam Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhavam Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Bhalava Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So today, actually, usually on Fridays we read for Srila Prabhupada Nectar book. We read it yesterday, but there's a lot of putting things back in place. We didn't have class, so we just do this today, and then I think after that we'll be back to our normal schedule, class schedules. So if anyone is watching outside and we're streaming, in the Prabhupada Nectar book, we're on page 260 right now. So this is, says number 9. Soon after the grand opening of the Krishna Balaram temple, Srila Prabhupada allowed the Punjab National Bank to open a branch within a large room of the Krishna Balaram guest house near Prabhupada's residential building. It's not here, then there's no translation. Okay, it doesn't come in, there's no translation. The bank managers and their friends gathered, as well as many devotees, and a ribbon-cutting ceremony was observed. The devotees also distributed prasadam sweets. On this occasion, Prabhupada gave a public speech comparing the bank manager to Kuvera, the treasurer of the demigods. Prabhupada told the story of how Dhruva Maharaj had been killing the yakshas like anything. Swami Manu had advised Dhruva to stop killing, and Dhruva had complied. Then Kuvera personally came and offered Dhruva a benediction. Although the treasurer of the demigods was offering any boon that Dhruva might desire, however, Dhruva Maharaj said, "Please give me your blessings that I can always be engaged in the service of Krishna." Prabhupada then said humbly that this was the same benediction that he would like to ask of the local Kuvera, the manager of the bank. Okay, so here's the Russian translation here. So continuing on. On this same occasion, Srila Prabhupada told a story of a man who had heard that money attracts money. This man went to the bank, to a place where a clerk was engaged in counting money. Okay, we have the the man went to the bank, and he went to the part of the bank where the teller was counting money. So the man who visited the bank, he took some of his money and threw it on top of the money that the teller was counting. He stood there for some time, and he was watching the money. He was watching the money for some time. So the clerk, he said, "Sir, what are you doing?" So the man said, "I've heard that money attracts money, so I'm sitting here watching you count to see what happens." So the clerk says, "Yes, it is a fact that money attracts money. Now my money has attracted your money." Number 10, the next one. So Srila Prabhupada, sometimes in his lectures, he would he would criticize he called the horseless carriage civilization, motor cars, and how cars would go back and forth very fast and often cause big accidents. Srila Prabhupada himself personally experienced the dangers of riding in cars. One time, while going to Mayapur, Gargamuni was driving, and the car hit a man who was repairing the road. So the man was not hurt very badly, but as Srila Prabhupada, their car started to slow down, the people in the village came and started blocking the road. So after a short time, a crowd of Bengalis came and were yelling, shouting very angrily at them in the car. So Srila Prabhupada rolled down the car window and he yelled something to them in Bengali. So after a while, Srila Prabhupada turned to Gargamuni and said, "Give them 10 rupees." But that just increased, they started yelling even more, got more angry, and started yelling more after they were given 10 rupees. So Srila Prabhupada told Gargamuni, "Give them 10 more rupees." Srila Prabhupada said, now we can go. So the car started moving forward, and continued. The car started driving away. And then Srila Prabhupada started reprimanding Gargamuni for driving too fast. So another time in America, while on a morning walk, Srila Prabhupada gave the same instruction. Srila Prabhupada, when the devotee named Radha Vallabha was remembering a time when he had been speeding 95 miles an hour to get in order to reach Srila Prabhupada at the New York airport. Radha Vallabha. So a policeman had stopped him. So the policeman saw that who was driving was a Hare Krishna devotee, and that they're going to see Srila Prabhupada. The policeman said, "You let him go."
И когда он, полицейский посмотрел, подошел, увидел, что сидят несколько людей, он принял лук и вышел и
Srila Prabhupada was not very impressed with the story, though. Impressed. He didn't think it was a nice story. Srila Prabhupada just simply said, "Don't speak." Don't take advantage. Do not take advantage. And Radharani said, smiled and said, "Well, we're going to pick you up at the airport." But Srila said, again said, "That's all right, but don't speak." And then a few years earlier, some devotee was killed in a car accident because he was, he was driving all night. He was too tired and he fell asleep. Yeah. Because Srila Prabhupada was lamenting the loss of a Vaishnava. That devotee's name was Jai Gopal. Srila Prabhupada said that whatever was gained by his driving so fast and then getting in an accident and dying, that what he was far. He said the way he was speeding all night and fell asleep, and that loss was far greater than anything that could have been gained by trying to go so fast. The devotee was trying to go somewhere, do something probably related to devotional service. So, but whatever he gained by going fast, of course, he lost so much more by being killed in a car accident. That's the point. Okay, so next section, number 11, little drops of nectar. It says that in Vrindavan there are hot winds called lu that come from the Rajputan desert, and they can be deadly breathed or when they enter a person's ear. There are hot winds. The wind, and sometimes there's a breeze, and it's very hot, and that hot breeze, if you breathe it or if it goes in your ear, it can be deadly. It can kill you. In India. This is in Vrindavan. So in Vrindavan, when these kind of winds come, most people just stay inside their house and close their windows.
И когда Вриндаване и сильные ветра приходят, то люди все остаются дома, закрывают окна.
So one evening, Srila Prabhupada was sitting outside on the roof in his Vrindavan residence, and this hot wind came.
Однажды во Вриндаване Прабхупада сидел на крыше и как раз там горячий ветер начал.
So first the atmosphere was very calm, and then the hot wind came.
То есть вначале вся атмосфера, она стала успокоилась, а ветер снизу начал горячий ветер.
So when that happened, Srila Prabhupada's servant Upendra ran out, covered his own head, and helped and securing the papers on Srila Prabhupada's little desk.
И этот Вендра выскочил из
So Srila Prabhupada was working on dictating Srimad Bhagavatam, and he did not want to leave. Although Upendra was pleading with him to not stay out there because of the hot wind. So Srila Prabhupada accepted a charter, but he remained there translating. And Upendra was coming and going to see if Srila Prabhupada was okay, or if he needed anything. This is during some period when Srila Prabhupada was not feeling well, but he still was trying his best to continue his translating work, even when those hot winds would come. So another pastime. So Srila Prabhupada was on the roof in Mayapur building. He was on the roof, and he noticed a brass lota. Lota, brass, copper. Like copper, it's a metal. Like what the deities paraphernalia are, brass. So this brass lota, it was sitting near a line of tulasi plants, and there were pots. So devotees who saw that Srila Prabhupada was saying, what's that? And he was disturbed, but nobody who was seeing it, this happen, understood why Srila Prabhupada was disturbed. Anyone who's watching thought that everything seemed normal to lots of plants, the grass load, like that. So Srila Prabhupada says, look in the schoolroom bathroom. See if there's a lota there. So someone ran in and looked and said, no, there's no lota there. Shishi Bonitai, Shishi Radha, Virtue Bihari, Jagannath, Balaram, Lady Subhadra, Shivane, Bhavan Maharaj, Ki. So someone ran in to see if there was a lota. There was no lota. He said there's no lota in the bathroom. So Prabhupada said this is a great aparad. This is a great offense. Srila Prabhupada and the devotees were amazed to think, to realize that Srila Prabhupada was so his detective work, as it says, his detective work was so good that he saw that someone had used the grass lota from the bathroom for watering the tulasi plants. So another pastime. Sometimes Srila Prabhupada circumambulated the Krishna Balaram temple while chanting japa during his morning walk. So Srila Prabhupada, one time he turned to the devotee who was accompanying him. He says, "You are blind, but I am seeing. You are blind. You cannot see. You are blind, but I am seeing." But no one he did not understand what Srila Prabhupada what he meant. He thought he was thinking, is this some kind of a philosophical statement? So he went around again, and the Krishna Balaram temple, and again Srila Prabhupada says, "You are blind, but I am seeing." So this time he pointed to some light bulbs that were burning outside the temple, although the sun was fully risen. So the next section, number 12. So Radhanath Swami remembers something from 1976 when Srila Prabhupada visited the old farm quarters at New Vrindavan. So So Srila Prabhupada had lived in that primitive uh, woodland setting. He stayed there in New Vrindavan in 1968, at the very beginning of New Vrindavan. Srila Prabhupada was staying in one. It was an old their original farm houses. But many years later, Srila Prabhupada had visited, um, the more newly developed parts of New Vrindavan over the years, but he'd never gone back to the old farmhouse, the original one. So Kirtanananda Swami said, if you clean this up here, I will bring him up. I'll bring Srila Prabhupada back up here. But then Kirtanananda Swami says, no, better we don't bring Srila Prabhupada here. You'll see it, you'll say it looks like a jungle. Then Radhanath was discouraged, disheartened is the word, because he was the pujari for the deity Radha Vrindavana, who resided at the temple at that farm. He was feeling there would be a perfection of his spiritual life as Srila Prabhupada would come there. Radhanath decided to bring a picture of those deities for Srila Prabhupada to see. So one day during Srila Prabhupada's visit, Kirtanananda Swami introduced Radhanath to Srila Prabhupada and said that Radhanath has been making sandwich. So Srila Prabhupada said, very nice. And then Radhanath showed Srila Prabhupada a picture that he had of the deities at that farm, which he took care of. And then he started Well, Srila Prabhupada looked at the pictures very silently, meditating for about a minute.
Srila Prabhupada смотрел
Then Srila Prabhupada began to glorify Lord Krishna. It said that Krishna in Vrindavan is the sweetest. When Krishna stays in Mathura or Dwarka, that is city beauty. But when he is in the village of Vrindavan, his beauty is the sweetest. So while speaking this, Srila Prabhupada continued to look at the picture of Radha Vrindavana. Radha Vrindavana. Then the Srila Prabhupada, when I'm speaking, and when Krishna goes out to the pasturing grounds with his flute and his buffalo horn to herd the cows, play with his friends, he becomes so absorbed in playing that Mother Yashoda would have to go out and get Krishna to bring him home. So Srila Prabhupada said, where are these deities? In the picture. Where are these deities? So Kirtanananda Swami said that they were at the original farm. He said the place you stayed many years ago. So Srila Prabhupada said, so can you take me there to see them? Kirtanananda Swami said it's very, very difficult to go there. The road is very bad. It will be very uncomfortable for you. So Srila Prabhupada asked, do you have a jeep? So Kirtanananda Swami saw that Srila Prabhupada was very persistent. So they decided to make all the arrangements to bring Srila Prabhupada there. So when the brahmacharis who were at the old farm heard the news, they were very, very happy. They tried their best to clean up the temple and make things nice for Srila Prabhupada to visit. So Radhanath emphasized that Kirtanananda Swami said that it was important that the recording of the Govinda prayers begin as soon as Prabhupada walked through the doorway to the temple. Just like when we open the curtains in the morning, we play the Govinda prayers, right? So he's saying that it was very important that they start playing that exactly at the moment the Srila Prabhupada walked into the temple. The tape recorder should be prepared and ready to play exactly on time. And different devotees should be, one outside the temple, one down the road a little bit, and someone down there, to let everyone know that the Srila Prabhupada was coming. So Radhanath was there right next to the tape recorder, to press the button as soon as they heard the Srila Prabhupada was arriving. So Srila Prabhupada went 3/4 of the way up to the old farm temple in a vehicle, and then he the rest of the way he walked. So as Srila Prabhupada walked, all the guards came to join him. All the devotees who were watching for Srila Prabhupada come, they all went to see Srila Prabhupada, to be with Srila Prabhupada. So while they were walking, they saw there was one black cow, and they said, "This is the first cow that came to New Vrindavan." Srila Prabhupada said, "Yes, I know. Oh, yes, I know Kaliya." The cow's name is Kaliya. Yes. So finally, Srila Prabhupada arrived at the farm, the temple of the farm, and he entered it. But somehow or other, all the other devotees that were with Srila Prabhupada stayed out. They were detained. They did not enter the temple immediately, but Srila Prabhupada entered it alone. No. There were devotees outside with Srila Prabhupada. For some reason, they did not go in with Srila Prabhupada. They were outside. Srila Prabhupada went in by himself. So Radhanath was surprised because they had some plan to know when Srila Prabhupada was going to arrive there. So he wasn't given that warning. So he was surprised when Srila Prabhupada showed up inside the temple. No. The devotees, the plan had been that the devotees would be saying, Srila Prabhupada's coming, Srila Prabhupada's coming, he's outside the temple, now we're going in, and Radhanath was going to play the Govinda prayers. Okay? So, but for some reason, when they got to the outside the temple, the other devotees did not come in, and nobody told Radhanath that Srila Prabhupada was there. So Srila Prabhupada just walked in. So so Radhanath started playing the Govinda prayers, open the curtains. Radhanath, when Srila Prabhupada did arrive, he pressed the button and played the Govinda prayers. And they opened the curtains, and Srila Prabhupada stood there looking at Radha Vrindavana. So Srila Prabhupada nodded his head, looking at the deity, and then the pujari. He was first at the deity, then he looked at the pujari. After a few moments, Srila Prabhupada went to the rear of the temple room and sat on the rustic-looking vyasasana. Rustic means like old. And Srila Prabhupada, at that point, he sublimely and naturally, he began to give the Srimad Bhagavatam that way. Srimad Bhagavatam class that way. I think we're out of time, but any questions, comments? Anyone online have a question, comment?
Can I clarify this story? Was Radhanath Swami should have played?
Yes.
This music
Yes.
during other time, but the devotee, there is a story that the devotee stayed outside.
Yeah, for some reason, I don't know. Yeah.
But then Srila Prabhupada came in alone, and Radhanath Swami saw him play this music over the curtain.
Yes. Because they were, Radhanath was expecting that he would get a warning. I was here, he's here, he's here, and then everyone was going to come in with Srila Prabhupada. That was the plan. And then he would play it. So Srila Prabhupada just walked in, and for some reason, all the other devotees were still outside at that moment. It doesn't say why.
What was of the main idea? Like, was the result was the same? Prabhupada came in and,
yes, but Radhanath was late a little bit in pressing the button. The plan was that just as soon as Srila Prabhupada steps into the temple room, then he'd play it. Radha Swami didn't get any warning, he was behind the curtain with the deities, ready to press the button, and he had no idea that Srila Prabhupada was going to be there. So, somehow or other, he managed, understood it at one point, and Srila Prabhupada was there, as he looked, and then he pressed it. So the plan to do everything exactly on time, that messed up somehow or other because not everyone did their part.
В общем, я прояснил ситуацию все-таки, действительно, мелодия, короче, не было такая, что Прабхупада зашел вместе с преданными, и как раз как только нога Прабхупады на лестницу, то сразу он набрал самой мелодии, и была такая стабильная ходьяка алтарная, Прабхупада поиграл эту мелодию, и преданные все, так как по какой-то причине непонятной те преданные остались снаружи храма, и Прабхупада отошел один, вот, а Ранганат был за шторами, и никто не прибежал и не сказал, где находится Прабхупада. И просто уже было время открывать алтарь, и он автоматически время открывать алтарь, он увидел Прабхупаду, ходит в алтарь. После этого
Okay, so no other questions. Then I think we'll end here. Tomorrow we'll read the Nectar of Instruction, and then back on Srimad Bhagavatam on Monday. Srila Prabhupada ki